Satan is not going to cast out Satan, right? He's not going to go against his own kingdom, right? So we should not be going against one another. We should not be going against each other, being family, right? Once again, whether that's natural or spiritual. And I get it. You may be in a situation where you may have been hurt by a family member, natural or spiritual, or you may have hurt somebody, right? But God, a lot of times, will give us an opportunity to mend that relationship. But what happens? Eat Up Monday. Hey, what's going on, family? You guys already know what day it is. It is the day after Sunday. Welcome to another Eat Up Mondays. Listen, before we get in our meal really quickly, I just want to encourage you guys. Listen, if you like this video, please do not forget to like it. I've been practicing myself, because I watch a good amount of YouTube videos, and I found myself watching videos and kind of, either going off to do something else or watching another video. And I realized a lot of times watching these videos that I hadn't liked them, even though I liked them, right? So I've been trying to get into practice of make sure, I like these videos because for one, it helps, YouTube know that this is a likable video, somebody wants to see it, and it will cause them to share it with somebody else. So please do that for us if you like the video. If you have not subscribed to the channel, don't forget to click that subscribe button, and after you click that subscribe button, all you have to do is click the bell, and it will notify you every time we upload a video. I just want to say I truly do appreciate you guys, and thank you for your support. I thank you for joining me every Monday or whatever day it is that you jump on during the week. I truly do appreciate you. And with that being said, guys, I'm hungry. You guys are hungry. So without further ado, guys, let's dig in. Listen, last week I did a podcast. We've been talking about family lately here on the channel, the importance of family. We've talked about it all last year because I believe that, obviously family is important at any given time in our life, but especially now, right? So last week I was talking a little bit about, the title was to the podcast, Navigating Family Hurt, Lessons from Joseph's Journey. And if you know anything about our brother Joseph, his story starts in Genesis chapter 37. But listen, it was a very encouraging podcast. A lot of people reached back out, commented, it touched them, because they're going through some family hurt, family pains, maybe family divisions. And I encourage you guys as well to go and check that podcast out because I think it'll be an encouragement to you as well. And with that being said, I wanted to kind of stay along the lines of that, not digging as deep into it as I did on the podcast, but just touching on some of the things that I talked about on the podcast, but also some other things that I didn't touch, on the podcast when I was talking about it. And one of the things I want us to understand is that, listen, family is super important, right? Like, it's going to be very hard to navigate this life without somebody in our life, right? And look, some of you guys may be in situations where, because I had people comment on the podcast, that the family situation that they're in, it's like right now, it's just not a possibility to connect with these individuals, and it may never be. And I'm not saying that that doesn't happen, but if God gives you the opportunity, if he makes a way for that relationship to be mended, we need to do that because it's important that we have, somebody in our lives, right? And we know that the Bible talks about that God will bring other individuals in our life to replace these individuals, that we may have lost, and or either just add on to the family that we already got, right? We know in Proverbs 18:24, it says, a man that have friends must show himself friendly, and there is a friend that sticketh closer than a brother. So we're not saying that, everybody that you're going to be close to or that you're going to find yourself accountable to, being able to pour into them and them into you, helping them helping you, that they have to be like a blood relative, right? Because we also talked about, our family in the house of God, those of us that are saved, right? The importance of keeping that intact. And if you notice, in this day and age, and for years, right? Because this has always been, something that the enemy has tried. He's always trying to cause division in the church. He's always trying to, create some type of mess, within the church. And sometimes it may be individuals that may have allowed him to use them to do it. But what it does is it creates a ripple effect. And now you have a whole bunch of people that's not talking to one another. They're no longer fellowshipping with one another. I've seen it many times where people can't come to an agreement or an understanding on a disagreement, and people will leave the church or this one to stop talking to that one. And that could be very dangerous, right? Because the whole the whole reason why God, doesn't want man to be alone is because, collaboration and fellowship and all those things are super important. Listen to what Luke 11 and 17 says. And this is Jesus, talking to the people when they were trying to say, oh, he's casting out devils with the power of Beelzebub, with the power of the devil. Listen to what Jesus says to him. It says, but he, Luke 11 and 17, it says, but he, talking about Jesus, knowing their thoughts, said unto them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation. A house divided against itself, or a house divided against a house falleth, right? So this is Satan's whole agenda, is to constantly have us bickering and at each other's throat, whether that's in our spiritual family, whether that's in our natural family, because he knows that when we are at odds and, we are, going back and forth against each other, that house is not going to stand. There's not going to be any strength in that house. And that's what Jesus was trying to explain. He goes on in that next verse to say, listen, Satan is not going to cast out Satan, right? He's not going to go against his own kingdom, right? So we should not be going against one another. We should not be going against each other, being family, right? Once again, whether that's natural or spiritual. And I get it. You may be in a situation where you may have been hurt by a family member, natural or spiritual, or you may have hurt somebody, right? But God, a lot of times, will give us an opportunity to mend that relationship. But what happens is, we get into our pride. We get into this place of, I don't need nobody but God. But listen, God created it, created this whole life in a way for us to have family. You have to come through your mother, right? In order to be born. Like, he created an atmosphere where we would have family, right? Naturally and spiritually, because there's a reason that we need family. There's a reason why we should not be isolating ourselves. A lot of times when you hear people say, oh, I don't need nobody but God, and they isolate themselves, sometimes they don't understand. They're opening up themselves to the enemy's attacks, right? Because now they're leaning to their own understanding. They're standing by themselves and leaning to their own devices. And when I say isolate yourself, I'm not talking about when we isolate ourselves to get closer to God in prayer and in the word, or maybe fasting or whatever have you, or isolating ourselves to get a goal done, or our purpose done, or something God has given us. I'm talking about that isolation when you like, I don't need nobody. I don't care about nobody. I can do this by myself, just me and God. That's not how God intended it. And this is why I think about this. I'm going to give you an example, right? You ever been off to your own thoughts, or your own devices, or you thought a certain way about something, or felt a certain way about something, right? And you was 100% in your mind that this is how it is. But when you talked to someone else about that same situation, and they gave how they felt about it, you realize that, oh shoot, this is another perspective on it. And it enlightens you, like, man, it really wasn't everything what I thought it was, right? And this is the importance of us constantly communicating and being in fellowship with other people, because when we start to be by ourselves, we can just tell ourselves anything. We can make ourselves feel that we're 100% right about, all the things that we think about, or how we feel, things about the world, things about the church. And that's just a dangerous place to be. And I'm encouraging you guys, go and check out that podcast, because we talked about family hurt. If anybody in the Bible can talk about, family hurt and give us his testimony on it, it's our brother Joseph, because he went through the ultimate hurt. So go and check out that podcast. But I want to share this last scripture with you guys. And, we're going to get out of here. We're going to finish up our meal. But I want to encourage you guys, once again, don't fight against it. If God has been, touching your heart to reach back out to a loved one, do that, right? Don't let pride get in the way. Maybe don't look at it like, oh, they not calling me, so I'm not calling them. They not talking to me, so I'm not talking to them. No, somebody has to be the bigger person right now. If you reach out to them, show them the love of God, try to let them know, like, listen, I'm sorry, or I forgive you, or however the situation went, and they still don't want to talk. You played your part, right? you and God are good now. There's nothing you could do about it. You can't make them talk to you or make them love you back, but you don't ever want to be feeling some type of way on your side, right? Isolating yourself and hiding away and getting to your own thoughts and all of that, because it could be disastrous. But I want to share this last scripture with you guys. And this is scripture that I've shared on podcasts, on the channel, Galatians 6:10. And this is a powerful scripture, right? It says, as we have therefore opportunity, as you get the opportunity, when those doors open and opportunity comes, the scripture says, let us do good unto all men, right? Okay, cool. Let us do good unto all men. Like, that's important. When we have the opportunity, let us do good to our fellow brothers and our fellow sisters. But listen to what the scripture goes on to say. It says, especially, particularly, especially, specifically, unto them who are of the household of faith. So what is this scripture saying? Listen, when you get an opportunity, do good unto all men, all the people, that are here in the world. If God presents an opportunity for you to do good to them, do good to them, do something for them. But it says, especially those that are of the household of faith, those that are in the house, those that are family, right? Like, I never understand how you have people that they can treat somebody that they meet on the street better than their family member that they lived in a house with, right? Like, you should be especially doing good unto your family. Why? Because they're already in the house with you. You already know them. There's already a relationship there. Even if there's, some type of, disagreement going on or whatever, these people outside of the family, you don't know them, right? Until God really reveals them to you. And I talked about that on the podcast that, nowadays we hear all these stories about people hooking up with people through the internet or just meeting people and losing their lives like immediately, right? Like, so this is a day and time that we can't just trust anybody. It's always been like that, but now it's even worse, right? So we should be trying to do good unto those that are close to us spiritually, naturally, those that are family. We should be especially trying to do good unto them and keeping that relationship tight, right? When people, do all of these, oh, well, we're going to Africa to do outreach, we're going here and there, but you can't, you can't keep a relationship with people that are right around you, that are right in church with you or right in the household with you. That is a problem, right? And once again, I'm not saying when certain things happen and somebody does the ultimate betrayal to you, that you just got to sit there and take it and embrace it and things of that nature. No, I'm not saying that. There's some things that, unfortunately happen where people never connect again. But what I am saying is that when God presents an opportunity, right, to do what a Joseph did, then take that opportunity, right? Because that's God, that's wisdom saying, listen, here's an opportunity for you to do the right thing. Here's an opportunity to help them maybe get from a dark place where they are, right? It's a lot to it. Please go and check out the podcast. I really do believe it will be an encouragement to you. I will leave the link in the description. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you will see the video pop up at the end of this video where you can click right on it and just go straight to it. Once again, the name of that podcast is Navigating Family Hurt, Lessons from Joseph's Journey. But know that I love you guys. I pray that you guys were encouraged on this Monday or whenever you're watching. I pray that this meal was fulfilling to you. Once again, don't forget to like the video. It will really help us out. Don't forget to subscribe. And the last job you got to do after that is click the bell, and it will notify you every time we upload a video. Know that I love you guys. Know that I appreciate you guys. And until the next time we share a beautiful spiritual meal together, shalom.